Yeah.
For me, it works. Jyotsna, how would you? Joe, how do you? Okay, they can unmute. I'm fine with that. If there is like a burning question that they can't resist asking, then they can stop me and ask in the middle too. But I'd suggest save it at the end so that there is a possibility that they ask these burning questions and then the answer is right in the next slide. So,
Right. So we'll have people put in their questions in the chat box during the presentation, and then at the end, maybe if they have anything, they can ask.
yeah, that works too. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. We'll wait for a while for people to join. I think it's Sunday morning, so the day we started.
We're making them get up at like 9 o'clock on Sunday. I'm sure people are protesting.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, guys.
fine. I mean,
It is for accommodating the time zone differences. If we would have gone any later than this, I would have started yawning mid presentation. So
Shall we start? Because I think more people will join as we go along, but it's already
Sure,
9:06,
yeah.
so.
Definitely, yeah, we should start.
Alright, so hello everyone, good morning, and welcome to the third talk of Green Talkies, ESI's Wildlife Week talk series. And I hope everybody is woken up and having their coffee or have had it. So today with us we have Sneha Dharwadkar and Jyotsna Nag from FTTI, which is Freshwater Turtles and Tortoises of India. And to tell you a little bit about both of them, Sneha is a herpetologist and she's a Ph.D. student at Oklahoma University in USA. And she's a co-founder of FTTI. And over the years, her work has revolved around conservation, ecology, and community education. I had the opportunity of attending a workshop on freshwater turtles conducted by FTTI. And I can tell you that Sneha is immensely knowledgeable and an absolute marvel when it comes to speaking about turtles. And Jyotsna is a zoology graduate and a herp-enthusiast. She's passionate about ecology and evolution of reptiles and amphibians. She plans to pursue a career in herpetological research. And she is by far one of the finest budding herpetologists I have met. And I am really very happy and excited to have both of them here to talk to us about freshwater turtles and tortoises of South India. So without too much further ado, I would like to hand it over to you guys.
Hi guys, good morning. I hope you are all awake and not going to sleep. I'm going to talk a lot about turtles, and I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy it. And Jyotsna is going to chip in between so that we're making sure that you guys don't sleep off. So we're going to like switch voices and make sure that we're keeping you awake on Sunday morning. And sorry you had to get up early because of me, because I'm in the US right now. And if we would have gone any later than this, then I would have started falling asleep while talking. So thank you, Anumit. I'm actually not in Oklahoma University. I'm in Oklahoma State University. And I'm saying this because OSU and OU has a rivalry. It's a football rivalry, not very serious thing. But I just want to make sure nobody poaches me away. Anyway, so I got into I've been in the field of herpetology for since 2007, but I'm doing my PhD very late in life. So I got into herpetology when I started rescuing snakes and crocodiles, and I just realized that these animals are very, very interesting. And through the way, across the years that I've worked with reptiles, one of the most rescued, most poached and smuggled animals we've seen are turtles. And I realized that there wasn't much information to go on when I started rescuing turtles, how to repatriate them, what to do when we find them, even how to identify them. Most of the herpetologists in India, herpers or herpetologists, they don't really know that much about freshwater turtles and tortoises. People, when they think of turtles, they think of marine turtles. And my colleague Anuja Mittal, who I co-founded FTTI with, we both were very much into freshwater turtles, and we realized that there is this really huge gap in education on turtles. So we started FTTI in the hopes that we'd be able to shed light on the research, basic natural history research of freshwater turtles and tortoises, and also conservation education. Over the years, we have had a couple of interns, but we were lucky that Jyotsna joined us. Jyotsna, as we very fondly call her, Jo, she has been with us for a year now, and she's outreach manager. She started out as an intern, but we just can't seem to let her go. We don't want her to go, but she needs to do her master's and go ahead in this field. So we will eventually have to let her go, but so far we have her with us, and hopefully she'll be part of FTTI as long as FTTI is there. She'll tell a little bit about herself.
I think what Sneha said is so I'm so grateful for FTTI for taking me under their wings and helping me grow into this new person. I was actually always interested in herbs, and right now, actually currently, ecology and evolution of the herbs of Northeast India especially are what I'm more interested to explore, because Northeast India severely lacks detailed ecological studies surrounding herbs, and I'm intending to study that and hopefully pursue a career in herpetological research. That's all I have to say about myself. I think we can start off.
Yeah, so I'll share my screen, and what I'll do is will either of you monitor the chat box, because I don't think I'll be able to see anything if I am sharing the screen. Okay.
Anumit can do that.
Yeah, I do.
Can you?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's begin the slideshow. So we're going to talk about freshwater turtles and tortoises. I'm not going to delve much into marine turtles because that's not my forte. And Jyotsna will join in, as I mentioned earlier. So let's begin. When we talk of turtles, we think of reptiles, right? And but a lot of people really misunderstand. They think that they can breathe in water. And the reason why they are reptiles is they are air breathers. So they come out to breathe air, and they are ectotherms. They cannot manage their own body temperature. They rely on the ambient temperature outside. And they're also called chelonians. So chelonians, testidians basically consist of all the extant, that is all the members of testidian order that has been extinct, and all the members that are currently alive, like a single present group of turtles. And they're also referred as chelonians. And because we have very limited time, you're all like a biology students, so I'm guessing that you know at least what testidians are, right? So they have scales like other reptiles, as you can see in this. Can you see my pointer? I can't see you, so you'll have to unmute and say yes or no. Can you see the pointer when I point on the screen?
Barely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's good. So as you can see, tortoise, and this is turtle. As you can see, there are scales on these animals. In some turtles, the scales are hidden under the skin, and sorry. And we will see why that is so. So turtles versus tortoises. When you think of turtles, are all freshwater turtles. They're all aquatic, and tortoises are terrestrial animals. And turtle is an umbrella term. So when I say hereafter, when I refer to turtles, it basically consists of both turtles and tortoises. So when I say all tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises, why do you think that is? Could anybody unmute and tell me why that is the case? I cannot see you, so you'll have to unmute. And I'm sorry, I'm making you do this on Sunday morning, but please do it. Can anybody tell me why it is so? Nobody? Ooh, looks like nobody knows. Am I audible? Is it?
Yeah, you are audible.
I am audible, right? So when I say turtles and tortoises, there is a difference. Okay, so we'll see how. First of all, let's explore a little bit about breathing mechanism. When you breathe in, your chest expands, right? Because our body is flexible. We don't have a hard shell around us. One classic trait of the group Testudines is it has shell. Even if its shell shows, even if its scales shows or not, even if it has a leathery skin on it, the shell is present, and that is the classic sign of it being a turtle, right? When you see a shell, you think of it as turtle. Of course, I'm not talking about the snails and other things, but I'm talking about a tetrapod that has shell, right? So turtle's breathing mechanism is very peculiar because its body is covered in a hard shell. So when it breathes in, its body cannot expand. So it's restricted by the amount it can inflate. But then it has to breathe because it's an air breather. It needs lungs. So what happens is the turtles have this, do you see the pink color here? These are the muscles. So what happens is when the turtle wants to breathe, the muscles will contract. And then the lungs the vacuum basically expands the lungs. So this is the mechanism, and it has to evolve like this because it doesn't have any room to breathe. So this is a very peculiar mechanism in any tetrapod. You won't see it in birds, you won't see it in mammals because nobody else has that kind of hard shell, right? So that is one thing. And then there is another exciting thing about turtles is that there are some turtles that can stay in the iced water, buried in the ice water for like days and days together. They won't come out to breathe because the water layer can freeze sometimes. And in the winter, like especially in the northern hemispheres, around the poles, in the temperate and Arctic polar regions, they're not found in the poles. But in the colder regions where the ice freezes, like the water freezes to ice and the turtles cannot come out, what they do is they breathe through their cloaca. They're also called bum breathers because of this. So what happens is the water enters the cloacal cavity and then it goes into these two cloacal chambers. And there are these hair-like structure called cloacal bursae. And then it has like a small, like even tinier hair on it. So basically what happens is the water is sucked in, and then the oxygen that is dissolved in the water is basically absorbed through these bursae. And then this oxygen diffuses, reacts with the glucose in the blood, and then that's how it's used. And then the regular breathing, like the breathing mechanism, is converted into this form of breathing. It's called cloical respiration, and that's why some turtles are also bum breathers. So that is another fascinating thing about turtles, is that you won't see this in most of the tetrapods. And if you look at the evolution of turtles, when you think of a turtle shell, what do you think? Like, what is the turtle shell used for? You can type it in the chat box. What is the turtle shell used for? What do you do with the shell? What does a turtle do with the shell? Protection, correct. Right now, today, in today's time, the turtle shell basically is for the protection, right? But the shell did not evolve for protection. The shell actually evolved for the turtle's burrowing habits. So this used to be the ancestor of the turtles. The currently known turtles was actually a burrowing animal. And to help in the burrowing process, it developed this muscle. So there's this really nice video that I want you to have a look at. And
so how did the shell evolve? Though there are still gaps in the fossil record, the first step seems to have been a thickening of the ribs. The oldest known turtle ancestor, a creature called Eunotosaurus africanus, lived 260 million years ago and looked almost nothing like a modern turtle, but it had a set of broad, flat ribs that anchored the muscles of its powerful forearms. Eunotosaurus was likely a burrowing creature, digging homes for itself in what's now southern Africa. Odontocalis semitestacea illustrates another, later step in turtle evolution, with thick ribs like Eunotosaurus plus a belly plate for protection. Our first fossil evidence of the full shell characteristic of modern turtles is about 210 million years old and belongs to a species called Proganocalis quinstedi, whose ribs had fused. Proganocalis could move between water and land. Unlike modern turtles, it couldn't retract its head into its shell, but had defensive spines on its neck.
All right, so that is a brief look. So as I said, the turtles basically evolved from a burrowing or from a fossorial animal that essentially used that shell-like structure for helping it in burrowing habit. So that's an interesting history. Now all of us know that even though some tortoises burrow, most of the use of the turtle shell is for protection, right? And then turtles are very diverse across all the different families. There is so much of diversity, even within a preserved body form like the shell of the turtle. There is enormous diversity in the shape of the shell, in the structure of its neck and stuff. So you can see these are the snake-necked turtles, and then you can see these are all the soft-shell turtles. And just look at the differences in the shell itself. There is so much of variety. There is so much of diversity in the form that it has. Despite of having one single structure of the shell, there is still so much of diversity. And turtles are found across like northern and southern hemispheres, and the evolution is very interesting. Like today we find more than 300 species of turtles, but it is nothing compared to what it was in the past. Historically, there has been a major extinction of turtles because of the climate. The climate in the Oligocene, Pleistocene cooled down, and there was major aridification, and we lost many species of turtles. So if you look at the reptiles, you will see that there are frog species in thousands. There are snake species, snakes and lizard species, swarmets in thousands, but turtles are hardly in like 300s. That's because a lot of them died before the modern age. And it is an interesting history where these are some of the most oldest animals on like some of the most oldest vertebrates, and you still see such less diversity as compared to the other reptiles, right? And if you look at the shell anatomy, we normally use shell, the placement of the scutes. Each shell is called a scute, and the placement of scute and counting those scutes help us in identification of the turtles. So the upper part of the shell is called carapace, which is on the dorsal side, and the ventral side of the shell is called plastron. And then there is a place where both carapace and plastron connects. That place is called a bridge. So what is the difference between tortoise and turtle? So coming back to that statement which says all tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. Because turtle is an umbrella term which also comprises of tortoises, and tortoises are all terrestrial animals. They will not swim in water. They won't be able to survive if you like throw them in a sea, or if you throw them in a deep pond. They won't be able to live for long. They'll float for a while, but they will not survive. But they live on land, so their carapace, their shell is very domed, and they have thick elephant-like legs because their body is so heavy and bulky. They need those thick elephant-like legs for support. And there will be some turtles which will go in the streams, which will cool down in the streams, but they won't swim. So that is a difference between a tortoise and a turtle. So even if tortoise is a part of the whole umbrella term turtles, all turtles do not belong to the group tortoises. That is why we say that all tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. I hope this is clear. So turtles, what we call, if we are separating between turtles and tortoises, turtles are basically aquatic or semi-aquatic. So they will be able to swim in water. If you put a turtle in water, it will be able to swim itself, even if it's a terrestrial species, or even if it prefers to live on land, it will still be able to swim. It will still be able to get itself to a shore and to the safety. And as compared to tortoises, their carapaces, their shells are somewhat flatter as compared to tortoises. And so this is a difference between a tortoise and turtle. And I hope that this comes up again and again in conversations, and a lot of people don't know this difference. But if you see a turtle and tortoises, you should be able to tell what it is. So a tortoise will not have a web on its leg because it doesn't need to swim, but it has like thick legs, it has scales on its leg, while a turtle will not have that kind of elephant-like legs. And its shell is comparatively flatter. Right? Even within freshwater turtles, there is a difference between hard-shell turtles and soft-shell turtles. So as the name suggests, hard-shell turtles and hard-shell turtles' shell is hard and soft-shell turtles' shell is soft. But what does that mean? When you look at these two turtles, what are the differences you see? Can anybody put it in the chat box? What do you see in the hard-shell turtle shell, other than it being like it's looking like something that's hard, and then soft-shell turtle looks like, what do you see? What is a characteristic rough surface of hard-shell, you mean? Right, so it is rough. Why? Why is it rough? Why does it look rough? It's a great point. It does look rough. And when we dig a little deeper, it has ridges, it has scales, correct. It has ridges because it has scales, because the shell is covered by scute. So that is a hard-shell turtle. Yes, Arul has another good point. So there are 2 points here. One is that the surface looks rough because you can see the scales of this turtle. You can actually see the scute, individual scute on this turtle, while on this turtle, you're not able to see the scutes because its shell is covered by a soft leathery skin. It's not actually soft like sponge or gelatin. It's just smooth. It's really smooth. So you won't be able to see the shells, you won't be able to see the scales, or you won't be able to see the scutes on soft-shell turtles. There is another difference. Do you see any difference in the face of both of them? Come on, people, wake up, wake up. Do you see any differences in the face? Pointed face, shape of the mouth? The mouths, correct. Actually, it's nose. But yes, when you see the nose of a soft-shell turtle, it has like a pointed pig-like snout, right? This is a very characteristic soft-shell turtle. This, like, even if you're not able to see the shell, if you just see a head sticking out of the water and you see this pig-like snout, you know that it's a soft-shell turtle. You will be at least able to say that, oh, I can see a soft-shell turtle. You may not be able to see the species. And in some of the species, like this particular Gangetic soft-shell turtle, you can actually tell a species from the marking like this. But the classic pig-like nose, the snout, is a classic soft-shell turtle trait. While in hard-shell turtle, you won't see that kind of. The face may be a little flattened, the nose may be a little pointed out, but it's never pig-like like a soft-shell turtle, right? So that is a major distinction. Why do they have pointed nose? Who knows? There is so little studies on turtles in general. Soft-shell turtles are known to be, some of them are known to be sit-and-wait predators where they bury themselves in the soil and only their nose sticks out. So that nose is like a snorkel that sticks out from the mud. And that is one of the assumptions that's why the nose is like this. But yeah, maybe that could be our PhD topic. Who knows? You can think about doing very interesting stuff with turtles because there is very little research on it. Right? So presenting next. What are the identifying features that you can use? So you looked at turtles and you saw that they are very diverse, but then there are some characteristics that, like, in birds, we see feathers, we see colors. Of course, in turtles, you can see colors, and some of the turtles are very prominent in their color feature. For example, this is Assam roof turtle, and you can see that pink reddish line behind its ear, and that is a very telltale thing. But other identifying features like the keels, So you see these protruding parts. These are called keels. So there are some turtles have keels. You can count the number of keels. Some turtles have webbing and claws on their legs like this. So you can see if their webbing is full or not. Then you can see if it has proboscis or snout. Like I said, the pig-like snout like this is a very telltale soft-shell turtle sign. Some have tubercles. So you can see the ridge here of the carapace has this protruding structures. They're called tubercles. So this is Amida cartilaginea. So this is this turtle is found in Northeast India. We don't find it in South India, but this kind of tubercles are very characteristic Amida feature, and it's only on the ridge. So that could be an identifying feature. And then some turtles have flaps, and I will show them to you when we get to that turtle. Some turtles have spurs like this. So these are all the callocytes are this hardening on the soft shell turtle plastrons. So you see these are all callocytes. These are hardened structures. So some turtles have these. And you can look for the age class, you can look for the sex class. What seems to be the age of the turtle, what is the age, what is the size, whether it's a male or a female. And that will help you identify the turtle. Like some juveniles will look very different. Like when the star tortoise is newly born, the black color is very prominent on its shell. As it grows up, its pattern becomes more and more visible. And then you can tell male from female in a way. Sometimes some turtles have curved plastron. It is cave-like plastron that is curved inside, and that is a male. And can you tell why would that kind of plastron be on males? What would be the reason? Why would a male want such kind of curved plastron? Why don't females have it? What do you think? Can people put in chats? What do you think? Why do you think they need that kind of plastron? To hold females during copulation. Correct. They have to mount on the female. Perfect. I'm so glad people are not sleeping. I was so worried for a minute. I said, people slept off. But correct. That is a great answer. To mount on the females. Shells are hard. They cannot be flexible. So they need to be able to sit on the shell, right? If it is flat, some species do have flat carapaces, but their copulation strategy is slightly different. But to be able to mount on the female, the shell needs to be able to sit on the female, otherwise they're just going to slide off. So that is why some males have curved carapace. Males usually have longer tail because they need the cloaca and they need to be able to copulate. And in some species like this Batagor here, Batagor kachuga, males are really brightly colored, and this color only develops during the breeding season. So the breeding happens around October and November, and that is when you will see this beautiful colors come out. While the females are like drab, they don't need that kind of color. Reproductive strategies in turtles in India especially hasn't been studied much. We don't know what are the strategies they use to attract the female, and what is the mate choice. So that is another research area that is open and not being explored. And then in India, we see 29 species of freshwater turtles and tortoises, and 21 of them are found in the Brahmaputra basin. So you look at the turtle distribution map, and you see the cool colors, blue and like light blue. These are all where less number of species are found. And the warmer colors like the pink and the dark pink and the red, this is where high diversity is found. So you see the Northern American region here, northeast and southeast of North America has great diversity. Some parts of Latin America has really high diversity, and then some parts of Africa. But then the highest diversity in a single region is actually in India and the Indian subcontinent. So you see this part in Assam. This is basically Brahmaputra Basin. And you see a total of 21 species in this small region. And that's simply because the Brahmaputra River creates such great habitat for these turtles to be in that you see such a high diversity. Quickly looking at the turtle group, as I said, it's order Testudines, and then we find two suborders, Cryptodira and Pleurodira. And then these are the three families, Geoimididae, Testudinidae, and Trionychidae that we find in India. And if you look at the suborders, Cryptodira, crypto basically means hidden, right? So cryptic species are basically hidden species. So Cryptodira refers to a hidden neck. So these are the turtles when they take their neck in. These are the turtles we are most familiar with because in Indian subcontinent, we don't see the Pleurodira. Pleurodira are the side neck turtles. So you can see this turtle that has folded its neck on the side. And they can't take their neck inside. So their neck is basically exposed. While Cryptodira has their neck hidden. So these are the turtles that we see here in India. We only see the Cryptodira. And then we see this four families. Chelonidae are the sea turtles. But there is one sea turtle that does not belong to this sea turtle family. We see these three freshwater families. Tortoises belong to Testudinidae. All the hardshell turtles belong to Geoimididae. And all the softshell turtles belong to Trionychidae. And then we have these families that are not found in India. Ceratochellidae are the pig-nosed turtles. They're only found in Australia, Northern Australia, and New Guinea. Chelhydrae are all the snapping turtles. These are like the popular turtles of the turtle world. Like everybody you see, at least a lot of people, like majority of the people in freshwater, like when they think of freshwater turtles, they know the snapping turtles. And then these are the Platysternidae, very ancient family of turtles. You see only one extant member in the family, Platysternidae. Basically, these are the large-headed turtles. They're found in Hong Kong and China. And same with Ceratochellidae. There is only one species that is found in Australia. All other species are extinct. And then Imididae are the popular turtles, the box turtles, the diamondback terrapin, all the American species are belonging to Imididae. In India, we find red-eared slider that belongs to this family, Imididae. Dermatamidae is another family that only has one extant member, Dermatomus maui, that is Central American river turtle. And Cynosternidae actually is interesting family. They're called stingpots and the musk turtles. So they actually, when you hold them, they have very foul odor that they release. That's why they're called the musk turtles or the stingpots. And then this family is interesting because it's sea turtle and it does not belong to Chelonidae. It belongs to in its separate family. Once again, only one member extant in this family. We only see the leatherback sea turtle. Every other member in this family is extinct. And then these are all the side neck turtles we do not see here. Chellidae, these are the mata popular turtles. Recently, until last year, there used to be only one member of this family. They're found in the Amazon River, but they were recently split into two species. And then this is Podocnemis, another side neck turtle found in Africa, mostly Africa. And then this is Pelomedusidae, another African family. So this is brief overview of families of turtles. I'll hand it over to Jyotsna. Jo, can you take it over from here?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much, Sneha, for the overview. Really helpful. So on this topic, of the 29 species of freshwater turtles and tortoises that occur in India, like Sneha said, 8 belong to the South Indian region. The South Indian region covers the states of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Union Territories Lakshadweep and Puducherry. So let us dive into the lives of these 8 turtles. Sneha, can you? Yeah. So this is the very gorgeous Indian star tortoise belonging to the family tested in a day. This poor thing is a bad victim to the international wildlife and pet trade, owing to the pretty star-like patterns on the carapace, and it's one of the most trafficked reptiles from India, and that's sad, really. The Indian star tortoise is one of the easier ones to identify. You only got to look for those radiating yellow star-like patterns and, like Sneha said, a domed shell, because it's a tortoise. This species is a completely terrestrial one, and its habitats include scrub forest, grasslands, etc. But something to note is that it also inhabits human-dominated landscapes, like fields or plantations, etc. They're herbivorous and only sometimes scavenge on animal matter like carrion, insects, slugs, and even dog poop. They're most active during the monsoons, but are otherwise crepuscular. Perhaps the poachers know this very well. After all, its illegal collection is rampant, and that is posing a great threat to its populations. Next, we will go to the Travancore tortoise. This also belongs to the family Testudinidae, and it's another one of the 8 species. And this buddy of ours is the only tortoise completely endemic to India. To be more precise, endemic to the southern Western Ghats. We get questions sometimes on how we should tell the Travancore tortoise and elongated tortoise because they look so similar. The answer is simple. You only have to look at their distribution ranges. Elongated turtles are found in the north and northeast of India, and this one's found only in the southern Western Ghats. One interesting thing about it is that male combat has been recorded in the species. So during the breeding season, a lot of head shell ramming and biting happens. These are also herbivorous. They have a varied diet, but they are primarily herbivorous. Sometimes they also eat animals like frogs and insects and millipedes, etc. And Sneha will actually talk about their possible role in seed dispersal. Across most of its range, this species is hunted and consumed. And that, along with forest fires and the usual developmental habitat destruction, are causing its population to decline, and its IUCN status is currently vulnerable. So the population is decreasing, and that's something. Okay, I'll talk about male combat later. Abhishek asks. This one is another one of my favorites. Okay, so this belongs to the family Geoemydidae. Vijaychalis sylvatica, or the Cochin forest cane turtle, is one of the smallest Indian turtles. It might even be the smallest turtle species in India, right, Sneha? Yeah,
It is.
yeah. So it was named after J. Vijaya, India's first female herpetologist, who had rediscovered it after, I think, 67 years. She studied this terrestrial species in captivity and documented important behavioral information, which was previously completely unknown. And even now, very, very less is known about this species because of a number of reasons. It's small and it's highly cryptic, and it blends so well with the forest floor that spotting it becomes a very difficult task. And it avoids detection very well. It is endemic to the semi-evergreen and evergreen forests of the Western Ghats in southwestern India, and it's rare overall. Hunting for subsistence and habitat loss are major threats to this. And because they occur in relatively high densities in smaller scattered patches throughout its limited geographic range in the Western Ghats, habitat degradation or habitat loss would result in the extinction of the species altogether. So we need to avoid that. And I think somebody asked what is meant by cryptic. Cryptic means they can't, like Anumit said, they can camouflage very well, and it's difficult to detect them.
As I mentioned, sorry Joe, as I mentioned earlier, cryptos basically means hiding. So they're so well camouflaged that they're very good at hiding. And these turtles basically resemble like dead fallen leaves on the evergreen forest floor. So it's very hard to see them because as soon as they sense a threat, they dive instead of diving in the water, they dive under the leaves and they look like leaves. So it's like very hard to spot them. So cryptid species are basically species that hide very well because of their camouflage.
Yeah. Next, we will go to our friendly neighborhood Indian black turtle. I don't know about friendly though. This one
doesn't bite.
is widespread across the Indian subcontinent, and if I heard right, even you guys at ESI spotted it about 3 times already this year, right? So what you saw would be Melanocheles trijuga coronata. That is the one with this distribution of all the 4 subspecies found in India. There is really no immediate threat to the survival, and their population can be said to be stable, but we cannot ignore the fact that they're victims of the international pet trade also, and that they're hunted for consumption. And I wonder how poachers get over the vile smell of the liquid they exude as a defensive strategy, because okay, never mind. I was going to mention something, but that's fine.
You should tell them once it poops on you, the smell is going to stay on you for like a really long time. Your friends might stay far away from you. Your friendships might break because of this turtle. So that may happen. You have been warned.
Yeah, you have been warned. Like Sneha said, they also, straight up poop a lot when handled badly or stressed, and they smell so bad. I found some fun fact. It wouldn't be a fact, but found some fun info while reading up for the talk. And it said that they have been observed to be congregating in large numbers on, carcasses in the forest. And when I say large, I mean it. I mean, they were seen to gather in hundreds at, one place. But this is just a communication. Our Arumungam communicated it to Indraneel Das in 2009. And it hasn't been confirmed or studied yet, but I thought it was a fun thing to bring up. Now Sneha will actually take you through the rest of the species. Over to you, Sneha.
Soft shells. I love soft shells. I study soft shells, so I'm going to talk about soft shells. So one of the very interesting soft shells we find in South India, and especially Kerala, is the Cantor's giant soft shell turtle, Pelotalis Canteri. This is a really large turtle. It can grow up to like more than 150 centimeters. They're huge. They're massive. One of the largest freshwater turtles in the world, and definitely the largest in India. Though actually Chitra indica and Pelotalis canteri can be of the same size. The problem with these large turtles is that the habitat is lost so much, and we have lost these turtles. We've lost giant turtles that it is very hard for us to ascertain which is the largest one. It is distributed across Southeast Asia, but these turtles are mostly found in the brackish water and the coasts and the rivers that connect closely to sea. I need somebody to mute their mic. There is a weird sound that's coming. Thank you. Okay, so moving on. These are really large turtles, and so far they used to be very rare to find. But as you can see in the photo, Ayushi Jain is a scientist that studies these turtles. She lives in Kerala, and she works on these turtles along with the help of the local community. So because of her study, there has been a little bit of research on a little bit of insights into the behavior of this turtle. These are ambush predators. Ambush predator basically means it sits in the bed of the river and hides its face entirely. So you see the eyes are placed at the top of its head. It's very interesting. Like you see the other turtles, the eyes are not this high, but the reason this predation strategy is very prominent in these turtles, the ambush predation, where they'll hide entirely and the only thing that's out is their eyes and the nose and the snout, and then it snaps at the fish that is passing by. And these are highly threatened turtles because of the poaching and habitat loss, mostly habitat loss. They need large rivers. They also need rivers with good connectivity to sea, like brackish water. Some anecdotal evidences also note that their nests are sometimes laid on the beaches as well, on the marine beaches. So that's very interesting. And this tells us that there is so little work on the freshwater turtles that the more we study, the more we find. Right? And the populations are declining rapidly across its range. We don't know much about how it is doing in India, but hopefully the more research on it, the more information we get. And then we have this Indian narrow-headed soft-shell turtle, Chitra indica. There are no concrete records in South India as such, but the paper on it suggests that it is found in South India in large rivers. This picture is actually not from South India, it's from UP. And these are highly endangered turtles. It requires, because of this, they feed in the similar way as Cantor's giant softshell, but this turtle specifically requires very clear water. And its predation strategy is also ambush predation, but they need water to be crystal clear. And it's very, very hard to find such kind of habitats now. So they're highly threatened. And especially in its northern range, they are poached for the meat. As you can see, there is this leathery skin around them that is called callipee. And this is a very prized meat for a lot of people. This is a source of protein for a lot of communities, but its poaching has been an issue. And then these are, you can see this is the individual that I photographed when it was trying to bury itself. This is in mid-burrowing stage. But this is how it basically tries to dig itself and buries itself. And its populations are declining rapidly across its range. In most of they are most commonly seen in North India, not in South India. But we have anecdotal records of them being in South India. We don't know where exactly. One of the commonest soft shells, I won't say commonest, but this is a species that I study. This is Nelsonia lethi. It belongs to one of the 5 members of Nelsonia genus. And they are listed as critically endangered, although there is really no population study on this species. So it's very confusing to me why they are listed as critically endangered when there is not enough information to go on. But they are endemic. So this is the endemic soft-shell turtle of the country. So we have endemic tortoise, as Joe mentioned. That is the Travancore tortoise. We have an endemic hardshell turtle, that is the Vijayachelys sylvatica, the Cochin forest cane turtle. And then we have an endemic soft-shell turtle that is so until now you saw the Travancore tortoise and the Vijayachalis. Both of them were endemic to Western Ghats, but this particular species is endemic to the peninsular India, and it's found in the 7 states of our country, where it also includes Maharashtra and Orissa, which does not form the part of South India. And these are large. They can grow up to 80 centimeters, and they also bite. So soft-shell turtles are biters. So if you see a soft-shell turtle, don't try to handle it yourself. They can take large chunks off your hand, and people who have handled this turtle have told me that I should give a very fair warning to anybody who's trying to handle this turtle, because they can bite, and they give nasty bites. And this is protected under Schedule 4 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act, and there is very, very little information. My study revolves around the population phylogeography, how the populations have evolved across its distribution range. It's very interesting how this turtle has become endemic as opposed to all the other Nelsonias that are found across the Indian subcontinent. And then there is one Nelsonia formosa that's found only in Myanmar and not in India. So the distribution of these turtles are like very interesting. And I'm looking at the population structure across its range, which includes all the 7 states. And then I'm also looking at how this population structure has evolved across times. And it is eaten across most of its range. Most of the communities eat this turtle. And even though in some of the areas in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu where I work, they are not as commonly seen, but they are not uncommon. So these are beautiful turtles. As you can see, the head has like lovely red color. So a lot of like people locally, they know these turtles. And they're large, so they're not hard to spot. My study hopefully will shed a lot of light on their evolution and a little bit of ecology. Sorry about that. The most common soft-shell turtle we see, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. There's a question in the chat box. Somebody is asking, what are the dots on its shell?
Dots? Okay. So, sorry. Are you saying these dots? They are called ocelli, and all Nelsonias. So this is a typical Nelsonia characteristic. You saw the other two, Pelotalis Canteri and Chitra indica. They won't have this. Only the Nelsonias. And these spots are found in all juveniles of Nelsonia. In every other Nelsonia except Nelsonia formosa and Nelsonia hurum, the peacock soft-shell turtle. These spots vanish as they grow up. So in adult turtles, you won't see the spots. They're called ocelli. And this is a typical Nelsonia characteristic. Whether it has a physiological function or not, we don't know. But every Nelsonia species has it. Yeah, so we really don't know what those spots do, whether there is any physiological or any anatomical reason for it. We have no idea. Moving on. So you see, this is an adult turtle and you won't see the spots because as they grow up, the spots vanish. They are highly threatened by poaching and habitat loss. Dams are like major issues because they need like large rivers and they need the waterways to move around. And dams are basically intrusions, just like the railways cutting across a land. Dams cut across the river, and they are major intruding factors. So this is a major issue. And then the commonest is the Indian flapshell. It's called flapshell because it has flaps on the shell. It's Schedule 1 because it is a heavily poached turtle. It's eaten as meat. And we find 3 subspecies in India. In South India, we find Lycimus punctata vittata and Lycimus punctata punctata. And you see these are the flaps that give its name. And the turtle can completely retract itself and it can close the flaps, and the head and the shell also closes from all sides. And these are carnivores. And you see in other soft shells, they won't have this kind of flaps. Flapshell is the only softshell turtle in India that has these flaps. And Lysamis genus in general has this flaps. So they're called flapshells because of the presence of this flaps. They're carnivores. They eat basically omnivores. They eat anything. They can also be found in brackish water, and they can tolerate fresh water. They can tolerate flowing water. They can tolerate stagnant water. These are very hardy turtles. They can actually estivate. And there have been incidences, reports of them walking long distances in search of water in places like Gujarat. I'm from Gujarat, and from where I am, these turtles actually bury themselves deep in the mud in summer because the water dries up completely. So they're very used to live in ephemeral systems. And this turtle is very interesting. Even though it's commonly found, there is so much interesting morphological features and so many traits that's not seen in other soft shells. For example, there are anecdotal evidences of the turtle eggs, these flapshell eggs, incubating for a really long time, and especially in drought season, and then hatching only when it rains. And so there is some kind of switch that goes on in these eggs. When it rains, they hatch. So, very curious, commonly seen turtles, not studied. Their anatomy, physiology, morphology, ecology, not studied. Just like most of the Indian turtles. In fact, you see the Vijayachalis and the Travancore tortoise, these two species are the ones that's probably the most studied, I would say, because if whatever little information we have, it's because of a Ph.D. from Wildlife Institute of India, Deepak Virappan. He did his Ph.D. on these two turtles, especially their home range and their behavior, like movement ecology. So we know a little bit of that because of that Ph.D. And you're all researchers, so I can actually vent about how little research turtles have. Like, we see people working on snakes, lizards, frogs, but there are very few researchers who actually focus on turtles. And there is so much to look at, not just ecology, but the whole physiology of an aquatic reptile is so interesting. How do they manage? Like, for example, we know the bum breathers belong to the family. Some of the turtles belong to the family Imididae, are bum breathers, but we don't know if we have any bum breathers in India, because we haven't really studied them that much. So there's so much to look at in these turtles. Like, even the commonest turtle, like Indian flapshell, has such interesting characteristics that need to be studied. And so these are the softshell plastron comparisons. Looking at a little bit of ecology, all turtles need to bask. It's because they are cold-blooded. They cannot manage their own body temperature. So to regulate their body temperature, they need to bask. But how does basking affect their metabolism? Like, what is the physiological function of basking? Can anybody tell? Like, what if it doesn't bask? What happens? Come on. What will happen if it doesn't bask? You're all scientists studying in ICER. It's one of the premium institutes of the country, so I am really banking on your knowledge of physiology. The body temperature will decrease. Correct. That is a direct response. But, so what happens when the body temperature decreases? What if it doesn't bask? So, for example, you see turtles being put in the wells where it doesn't have a basking platform. It just keeps endlessly floating, but doesn't get a chance to come out and bask. So here is what happens is, proteins need a specific temperature to do its optimal function, right? And to have those proteins, metabolism is negatively affected. Correct. Thank you. So that is a great answer. And metabolism is regulated by enzymes and proteins, and they will not function. And then body will fall prey to a lot of diseases and you will see more parasites. So turtles have, the basking function is also to like reduce parasite load. So you'll often see leeches. This photo is not I don't know if you can see, but there is a black spot here on this turtle. That's actually a leech. And leeches can't tolerate very high heat. So when turtles bask, leeches fall off. So other than regulating the metabolism, it also helps in removing the parasites, internal and external both. All right, next is the feeding preference. I like memes, so memes are going to be in my presentation. Feeding preference. Some of the turtles and tortoises have very specific feeding mechanism, like Chitra indica, for example, have ambush predation. You can see this is Platysternon megacephalum, the large-headed turtle. This is found only in China and some parts of Hong Kong. So you see this beak that is very pointed. It's actually used to break open the shells, and it has like very, very strong jaw muscles and jaw bones. And these are very prominently evolved to eat a specific diet. While most other turtles and tortoises are generalists. So tortoises are usually herbivores, but then you see that sometimes they can nom on the even dog poops. Tortoises are weird. And then hardshell turtles are usually herbivores, but again, they can sometimes take fishes. And softshell turtles are normally carnivores. Flapshell, for example, will eat anything, but most of the Nelsonias like fish, clams, mollusks. And Chitra indica is specifically, this turtle specifically is piscivorous. It eats fish. And as I said, you can see the placement of eyes are on the top of the head. That's because it buries itself entirely. And the only thing you see is the eye and the snout that's protruding out. So these are ambush predators and very good at how they feed actually. It's very interesting to see them feed. And if you look at the life cycle, all turtles lay eggs. And most of them will come on the shore to lay the eggs, and then they dig a small cavity. And most of the times you'll not see parental care. It's not a common feature in turtles. And if you think of turtles, it has temperature dependent sex determination. Usually, of course, it's not the norm. And recent research is showing that there's actually genes that are also involved in sex determination. But usually, you see that the temperature has a large role to play. And you see that in turtles, if the temperature is less, like the nest ambient temperature is less than 30, then they're all males. And if it is more than 31, then they're all females. And the shape of the eggs are also different. So hardshell turtles have elongated eggs, while softshell turtles and tortoises have round golf ball-like eggs. And the nesting habitat also depends from species to species. In South India, most of the softshell turtles like the marshy habitats to lay their eggs on muddy soil. And in North India, where Gangetic rivers, Himalayan rivers flow, they have large quantity of sand as compared to a lot of South Indian rivers. So a lot of hardshell turtles there prefer sandy habitats along the rivers. Turtles are very important in ecosystem functions. As Joe mentioned earlier, some of the tortoises are very, very important in seed dispersal. So you see there has been studies on Deepak Virappan's paper, you'll read that these turtles may form an important role of seed dispersal. But also in general in trophic system, if you see tortoises and turtles form a very important part of food chain and food web. So they eat a lot of fishes and they eat a lot of things while some things eat them. So you know how food webs and food systems work, and they're very important component of this whole food chain. And regulating the forest mechanism in seed dispersal and in regulating the trophic structure of forest floors and the scrubland area. And then they also are some of them are also indicator species, like this gopher tortoise. You see its burrows are known to be habitats for many other animals. And there are different animals that are named specifically because of their presence in this. For example, the gopher frog is found in the burrows of gopher tortoise. And then they also help in regulating invasive species like this water hyacinth. They're keystone species. They're indicator of the health of water and especially aquatic habitats. And they are highly threatened. More than 50% of Indian freshwater turtles and tortoises belong to the IUCN threatened list. And they are mostly found in illegal pet trade, and then linear intrusions and habitat fragmentations are major issues. Like, it's not just, don't think of only land, but when you think of water, for example, in urban areas, a lot of wetlands that are ephemeral, which the systems that dry up seasonally, they are normally seen as temporary, and people don't think of them, like they don't think of those wetlands being important in ecosystem point of view. So you'll often see this construction people completely filling up ponds that dry up in summer, and then they will start building some things on it. But the ephemeral systems are very crucial part of the ecosystem, and they need to, like, the turtles are important part of it. So these kind of habitat losses, we don't even really think of it, but they are really important, like especially the urban systems or semi-urban system, which are under extreme threats these days. And then there are other problems like the invasive species, like the red-eared slider. This is a new threat to our country, where you'll see the urban wetlands are filled with this because of the pet trade. People buy turtles because they look cute, and the aquarium people will sell them saying that, oh, this turtle is like tiny, it'll be like 3-4 centimeters when it's born, and then the aquarium people will sell it saying that it will not grow up. But these are the red-eared sliders can grow up to 25 centimeters, and that's a huge turtle to keep in a tank in house. Most people don't have that kind of financial resources or the know-how or the technical know-how to keep these turtles. So they end up dumping them in the lakes and ponds. And then these turtles are very hardy. So they establish themselves, they're easily able to breed in these ponds, and then they become a huge problem to the native turtles. And then there is international wildlife trade. There are some animals that are so cute and beautiful that people want to keep them as pets, forgetting that these are wild animals. They don't belong in your house. They belong in the wild areas. Right? So the conservation requirements of freshwater turtles are many. We need lot more research. We need habitat protection. We need the collective power of citizen science. So Joe is going to talk a little bit about it. I know we are extending time a little bit. Anumi, can we go on for like 5 more minutes and we'll be done?
Yeah, 5 minutes sounds good.
Okay. Joe, all yours.
Okay, so you guys have already spotted turtles many times, and I'm sure it was exciting, but do you know all that you need to do in case you spot one again? It's simple can be. The first thing you need to do is check if they need help. If you spot a turtle, the first thing you need to do is check if they need help. And if you think the turtle is injured and needs to be rescued, please contact your local wildlife organization or the forest department. They'll know what to do from then on. And if it doesn't need help, enjoy the turtley awesomeness. And I was elated when I saw my first turtle. And click a photograph of it. And it need not be fabulously, well framed, etc. It only needs to be recognizable, just like a record shot. And then upload your observation on the FTTI user group on India Biodiversity portal. And also, if you find a turtle trying to cross a road, do them a favor and gently help them across the road. And remember, in the very direction that the turtle was going. So that'll, I think, help in reducing roadkills. I don't know. And something very important, if you've touched a turtle, held one, please wash your hands thoroughly. They might have salmonella. Also, something very important, do not take them home. It's only your house, it's not theirs. And they have really specialized requirements. So it's better to just let the forest department and the rescue organization handle everything. We have so many people coming into our DMs, FTTF DMs, and saying, hey, I found this here and I thought it needed help. So I brought it and I'm trying to feed it and all that. And all they give them is biscuits and, I don't know, leaves. So that is something we don't want to do. Also, the reason why I asked you to upload your observations to IBP is because we have our ongoing freshwater turtle and tortoises citizen science project. This user group, our FTTI group on the IBP portal, is dedicated to the 29 species of Indian freshwater turtles and tortoises. And our page includes species pages and observations and other things. And it has information on their identification features, habitats, geographical distribution, and basic ecology. You'll find everything there. And your turtle or tortoise pictures help us know more about these neglected yet ecologically significant species. They help us create a comprehensive database on turtles and their distribution. So your sightings can actually contribute a lot to prioritizing efforts to conserving these, elusive and uncommon species and their habitats. So happy herping. Oh, wait. Should I say happy citizen sciencing? Yeah. So that is all we had to present. We will like to acknowledge these organizations and our co-founder, Sneha's co-founder, Anuja. Yeah. And
thank you so much for listening on Sunday morning and getting up early and coming to listen to us talk. Do we have any questions? I can stop sharing the screen. Do we have any questions that we can answer?
I can check on the... Sneha, Abhishek had asked what is male combat. Would you like to tell them?
Yeah, so basically males fight for the reproductive success. So basically males fight amongst themselves and the female will choose the one that is successful. So that particular thing where the males fight with each other, that is called the male combat. So you see in snakes also, they try to coil around each other. Two males will coil around each other and then they'll try to push the other one down. And in turtles, and tortoises especially, these Travancore tortoises, what they do is they ram their shells into the other male. And then eventually the male that is losing, he will give up and he'll move away from that area. He'll move away from the female. So then the one that is dominant, the one that won, will have access to the female and will be able to mate with her. So he will be able to father the babies that will result out of it. So that is called the male combat. Yeah. Did we miss any other question? Do turtles and tortoises suffer from diseases, like anything which affects their whole species or which might cause a decrease in the... Yes. So a lot of turtles in the US and other countries have been studied where Rana virus affects them. It's a virus that collectively kills, there is mass mortality of turtles. You actually had, in Kerala, you had an incident where a lot of turtles were dying in Kottayam district. and the cause was known to be Rana virus, but it's not very properly studied in India. Commonly seen diseases that we see in wild turtles have not been studied properly. Rana virus is one I can think of, but the most common diseases we see are in the captive turtles. And I can actually, let me see if I can show you a picture of the metabolic bone disease, if at all. Unfortunately, I don't think I have anything, but yeah, we see a lot of metabolic bone diseases in turtles, and that is like the shell gets very deformed, and yeah, okay, let me share a screen. Okay. Where is the share screen option? So if you see the shell of this turtle, it's actually curved from back. So this is a lead softshell turtle that we found in Maharashtra. And somebody had kept it for like many days. They claimed many days, but this kind of damage is, the view is from front, and the shell curvature is not actually seen very properly. But this is a picture from my colleague Rahul, and we basically rescued this turtle from somebody who had kept it, I feel must be months, 2 months, 3 months at least. And you see the diet was not proper, and because of which the shell becomes very badly damaged. And basically what happens is the calcium content reduces, and then the bones are not as strong as they should be. And then this kind of deformities happen. We see it very, very commonly in captive turtles. Like this is one of the most commonly seen diseases in captive turtles. But yeah, not very many wild disease studies. What happens when we displace a tortoise from one place to another? Sometimes we think the tortoise isn't safe in a place and we try to help, but it leads to more problems, if I'm not wrong. That is correct. A lot of tortoises and turtles are territorial, so they need to be in the place where they are. And for example, if you displace a turtle, it's just going to be lost and wander around, and sometimes that causes road mortalities. And sometimes that turtle may die because it may not able to find its habitat. So yes, it is definitely like displacing a turtle is definitely not a good thing. So if you find a turtle in some habitat, if it's crossing a road, try to nudge them in the direction where they're going. And like if you find it, and a lot of people contact us asking, oh, we found a turtle where there was no water body around. Sometimes turtles disperse to find new water bodies. So you can actually, like if you found it in certain area, try to nudge them towards the water bodies. So yeah, that's the short answer. Any more questions? You can unmute yourself. I'd be happy to listen to you. I can't see anybody, so I don't know what y'all are doing, but yeah, you can unmute yourself and talk.
I had a question. So,
yeah,
how efficient is cloacal respiration as compared to breathing by our lungs? And like, if it's less efficient, does it also cause the turtles to reduce their activity levels?
That is a really great question. So cloical respiration is not the primary breathing mechanism. It's secondary, and it aids the regular breathing. But majorly it's used when they are either hibernating, like they are in a water body where it's completely frozen on the top and they are underwater, they're not able to come out. So yes, they hibernate, not exactly hibernate, but brumate, where their metabolism slow down, and they will only they'll only breathe through cloacal respiration in these circumstances. And they can actually, some turtles can dive for longer time using that mechanism, but that's not the primary. They have to come out in the air eventually. So that is what, like, it's cloical respiration as is an aid to the regular breathing. It's not the main breathing factor. So it'll help them stay longer in the water, but they'll eventually have to come out. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
I don't see any more questions in the chat.
So if there's no more questions, I think we can say thank you to Sneha and Jyotsna for a really lovely session. It was
Thank
really
you so much.
It was really fascinating to dive into all of this stuff about turtles, and I'm pretty sure all of us have learned a lot today. And it was a pleasure having both of you on.
Thank you for inviting us. It was a pleasure for us. This is actually 2022's first outreach event for us through FTTI, right, Joe?
It is.
Yeah, so we're hoping that this sets up in a right direction, and I'm sure we will. We had great time. You all got up on Sunday morning. That's something. So thanks so much for calling us, and we had a great time with you. Such interesting questions we got in the session, throughout the session, and like people were responding to my answers. I was really happy. Thanks a lot, and have a good day, y'all.
Thank you guys.
And if you spot turtles, do upload on IBP. Help citizen science.
That, and if any of you guys want to reach out to FTTF directly, you can either DM us on Instagram. I will be available on Instagram, but if you want to reach to Sneha or Anuja for more professional, communication, you can email to indiaturtles@gmail.com.
Yes, thanks, Joe.
I've mentioned the handle on the chat, in the chat. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a good day, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.